Alright, so we already had a discussion on the theoretical parts on security groups and network ACL. So we already know that network ACL is the network layer of security, and security group is going to be the security that is acting like a firewall. So now what we need to do over here is that we need to practice this thing. So I'll actually start by going for creating a server, and we shall start from there. Because when you create a server, we can actually monitor the inbound and the outbound stuffs over there. You can see there is a configure security group here also, but anyway, we shall come back to that later. As of now, let us just launch it. Alright, so our server is ready. Let us try to see one thing. This is the security group it has taken. The group name comes as Launch Visit 5. Okay? If you click over there, this window comes up and it talks about the inbound and the outbound rules. So you can see as of now in the inbound rule, port number 22, which is the SSH protocol, is allowed from every single source. Means from anywhere in the world you can actually try to go ahead and connect to this particular machine on SSH, and in case you have the credentials and you have every single thing, you can actually log in. In the outbound rule, it is writing that all traffic following every single protocol, whatever port range it is available to be reaching on the any sort of destination in the internet. So this is the default behavior that you're seeing over there. We can manipulate it, we'll definitely do so. But however, let us start our journey with network ACL, apart from starting from security group. We shall go to the VPC console. And here you can see we have the network ACL in the security group under the security section over here. Now this is the default VPC where we have launched our server as of now. This is the network ACL that is controlling the default VPC network security. So basically, if you want to work with this, you have to change certain things over here. Other than that, you can create a new network ACL. You can connect with the default VPC. You can play with that. Let's do that. Let's not manipulate the default ACL. Let's create a ACL our own. So I'm connecting with the default VPC. Okay. The test ACL. The test ACL. So as of now, we can see that this ACL has got no subnetwork. So all the subnets are connected to this particular ACL. So everybody is following this ACL's rules here. So let's start following this particular rule instead of that one. Selecting all of them. So now you can see all these subnets have jumped from here to here. Okay, so we have all our subnets in our customized ACL. So I did this thing because I didn't want to mess up with the default ACL. Once I am done with my experimentation, now you can see there are inbound rules, there are outbound rules, and by default, if you see, it is saying star, rule number star. Star is saying that all traffic of all protocol of all port range is denied. Star is saying that all traffic of all protocol of all port range is denied. Outbound rule says all traffic of all protocol of all port range is denied. So whenever you create an ACL of your, by default you get it. But if I show you this one, Here you will see they have added a new rule within called something known as rule number 100, where they're writing all traffic of all protocol of all port range in any destination is allowed in outbound, and in inbound rules they're writing that from any source any traffic is allowed. And this is the reason that when you work with a machine that is launched in a server and you are not exactly messing up with the network ACL by to go and however, now that you have got this machine, now this machine has got we've got this network ACL. This has got nothing allowed. Therefore, rule right. So if I go to the EC2 once again and open up in a new tab, this server. If I try to connect to this guy, right? So I'll just copy this IP address. I'll come here. Let me just create a new session. I'll just edit one session that I already have over here. I'll just change the IP address. You can see that we already have the key and all those things. That is the same key it has taken. I click on OK. I click here. And you can see it is not connecting. It's just stuck over here. And it gives you a network error. It says connection timed out. So it tried to reach over there, but it couldn't. That's because in the inbound rule of our network ACL, you have so you can see by default there is no rule appearing over here. You might think that okay, where is this rule that is already written? Why is it not coming when I'm editing this? That is the default rule that does not come anywhere. That does not come anywhere. That is always having the least priority because it is with the star. The star has the least priority. All the numbers have higher priority compared to star. Let's say I'm calling it rule number 10, priority compared to star. Let's say I'm calling it rule number 10. For example, I'm telling that port number 22. I can find out my IP address and I can put that. This is my public IP address. I can just copy this and I can put it, so it will only allow it for me. Nobody else in the world can reach there. I can put it, so it will only allow it for me. So right now I am allowed to establish an SSH connectivity or an SSH connection with this particular machine. An SSH able to actually reach it. Let's try it out. Pressing R. And you can well, thing is that if you are opening up a port on inbound security, that means you are reaching to the server, that's for sure. But the server has to send you back the response. And that response you are unable to reach because you do not have anything opened in the outbound rules. The response that the server is sending, that is never reaching to you. And that's the reason you are not getting anything. Let us add an outbound rule over here. Let me add it with the rule number 20. I can add any number basically. Okay. And here I'm going to say I'm going to allow because it is outbound. I don't really worry much about outbound. I'm just saying that just allow every single traffic from this machine. That's fine. Now let us try to connect. And this time you can see we are actually able to connect to this machine. Okay. So that was one effect of this particular thing. Let us try to play a little bit more about this particular security group. Let us say I want to ping this machine, okay? So this machine has got an IP address more about, and with our normal ideas, we know that we can ping a server or a machine that is up. So let us try to do that. So I'm copying this command prompt, okay? So I'm going over there. I'm going to write down ping and to paste that IP address that I copied, pressing enter. And you can see it is trying to ping, but there is no response. Even though you can see the machine is running, we are able to log into this machine, but there is no response to the ping. So what might be going wrong over here? Okay, I can just press Ctrl C because nothing is coming back. It sent 3, it received 0, lost 3. All of them are lost. So let us try to fix this issue. Now you can see that our network ACL only allows port number 22 in the inbound here. But if we are trying to port number 22 in the inbound here, protocol has to be opened. Protocol has to be opened. For ICMP, now I'll go for custom ICMP because I do not need all the ICMPs. Somewhere. Okay, you can see all custom ICMP. Great. And the response, the thing I want over here is going to be echo request. To do that, okay, I'm enabling this. Now if I come back and if I try to ping, will it work? Well, clearly it does not. It is absolutely not working, right? It is just not working. So what's going on? Well, clearly it does not. It is absolutely not working, right? It is. So what's going on once again? Well, now this time let's understand what is going on. If you remember, the diagram I had drawn the last class, we talked about this, that you are first hitting the network ACL. If the ACL allows, you hit the security group. Now the problem that came into picture, if you remember, I showed you the security group. Their port 22 was opened, but there was no opening for ICMP echo request. Now see, in outbound it is not getting stuck. I mean, it is not that it is going in but it is not able to come out, because to come out it requires, I mean, we have just enabled all the traffic, so it will definitely come out. What it is failing to do is that it is failing to get into that. So let us try to check our security groups at this point of time. Now there are a lot of security groups. We need to figure out which one is ours. So I'll just see the name. And it says launch wizard 5. Okay, so let's come here, let's find out, and here we get launch wizard 5. So this is our security group. Okay, this is our security group. Okay, and here we go. In the inbound rules, if you remember, I already told you that in case you're mentioning something in the security group, you are immediately allowing it. There is no allow and deny buttons over here, right? So if you're mentioning, you're allowing. As simple as that. Let me allow it from all traffic. I allowed this thing from everywhere, so anybody can go ahead and you can ping this machine right now. So now that I have done this, so now both my network ACL as well as my security group is actually allowing this particular thing to take place. Let us try to get back to our command prompt and let us try to hit this ping, and this time we can see we're getting response. Acha. Now you can see one thing, in the security group I actually allowed echo request for 0000/0. It also took this one. Now this one is basically your IPv6. Okay, this is the IPv6 format. It is just telling that it supports IP version 6 as well. So in IPv6, when you try to talk about the internet, you talk about internet in this way. You write down like ::/0. Let us try to go one step ahead. Let us try to install a web server. Let's try to install a web server and let us see. So how do I install a web server? The first thing I want to do is that I want to update the machine. So let me go for sudo yum update. You can see it is already written over here what you need to do. Sudo yum update. I'm putting a -y for saying yes. Go ahead for all the installations and every single thing. And you can see it is stuck. Right? You can see it is stuck. So let me control C this thing. Exiting on user console. Cancel. If I try to do certain things, let's say for example, okay, there is a command ifconfig.co. If I do that, you can see we are blocked. We are not getting anything, right? So now what is happening over here is that whenever I am hitting this particular IP address, or let's say ifconfig.co, this particular DNS name, it is trying to make an HTTP call to ifconfig.co, which call is failing because in the outbound the call is going, but when the response is coming back to the inbound, in the inbound it is not open up. On the only thing that is open MP. So this thing not coming back. If we want to, we can solve it very easily. We can just go ahead to our security group, and in the inbound rules, we can actually mention, I can just delete everything and I can give it a generic rule, I can just mention that I want to allow all traffic. Okay, I'm just trying to be a little generic over here. I'm just allowing every single thing inside, right? I'm calling it, let's say, rule number 10 or something like that. I'm allowing every single thing over here. Once I did it, let me try to come here, let me try to run this thing once again, and you can see we are getting back our IP address. So this particular thing requires certain protocols which are not enabled in the inbound, and that is why it was stuck. Let me update this machine right now. Let us play with and you can see it is working right now. Let us play with the permissions regarding HTTP, HTTPS and things like that, our web servers and all those things. The update is done, so let us go ahead and let us clear the screen and let us install a web server. Sudo yum install. I'm going to install HTTPD, right, which is the web server. So let's do that, putting a -y, and you can see it is done. So let us go ahead and start the service. Sudo service HTTPD start. And if I do so, the HTTPD service is running. So now let us try to go ahead and do some experimentation about it. So this is the IP address. Let me hit this IP address on the browser. Let us see if the web server is loading. And unfortunately it does not. It does not load at all. Let's analyze. In the network ACL, it is allowing all the traffics. So definitely it is able to go inside to the network ACL. So it is definitely getting stuck in the security group. And in the security group, we can see that in Launch Wizard 5, which is our security group, we have SSH and ICMP. We do not have an HTTP request. So we need to allow HTTP over here also. I can delete this one. I do not need the IPv6 one. Let us say I'm going to write down HTTP over here. So I can just find it out. And you can see it is automatically blocking port number 80. And I'll just remove the IPv6. I'm saying from anywhere on the internet I should be able to hit this guy on HTTP. Let me save the rules over there. Click on close. Now if I try to hit this IP address, you can see this particular page is coming up, which is the default page of the web server. So the web server is actually responding to me with this particular page right now. The similar thing will happen if I block it on, let's say, network ACL. If I go to network ACL, I take this machine, I come to inbound rules, I create a new rule, I write down rule number 5, and I say that port number 80 is going to be denied. Now I took rule number 5 because I want it to be taken place before all traffic being allowed, because if all traffic is allowed once and after that I said block this, block that will not make any sense because it is already allowed. You can see automatically rule 5 came up. I told you, right? Lower the rule number, had the priority. So now HTTP is blocked from the ACL level. If I try to reload this page, you will see that it is continuously rotating in the opposite side, right? It is not loading anymore. So of course again we go back and we enable this rule and we are good to go, right? So if let's say I just enable this one for my IP address, it is 124. Whatever I found out. If I just enable it for me, okay, so let us say I'm doing like this. So let's say I'm doing like this. I'm going to write down a new rule, rule number 2, and I'm saying that port 80 for my IP address is allowed, but it's denied for everybody else. Okay, rule 2, see the rule number matters, because if I make it rule 6, then it will come below this and it will say that everything is denied initially, and then you're trying to open, it will not work out, because within everything this is also a valid IP. So we need a lower rule number for this. So now read the table top to bottom. It is already read top to bottom. It says that 124, 123, 105, 140/32 has to be allowed for HTTP. It allows that. Then it says that everything has to be denied for HTTP. So it denies everything apart from the first one, that it has already allowed. Then it says that it wants to allow every single traffic for every single thing. Fine. Everything works out apart from the port number 80 thing, because the port number 80 we have already taken care separately. So now if I want to hit this, you will see that it is actually loading. But if you want to hit this, it will not load, because it is allowed only from my IP address. So this is more or less what you have in your network SSL security. Trust me, there is nothing more than that.